All right. Well, I guess if there are any latecomers, they're just going to miss out on this, the interview of all interviews. So, as you know, friends, today we have in the hot seat our dear Pritam Patel, a wedding celebrant and MC. And tell us quickly before we get like into the deep stuff, how long have you been a celebrant?
Officially since 2023. So
Okay.
2.5 years-ish.
Okay.
Sort of springtime. Yeah.
You say officially, so does that mean you did a wedding before you were officially?
I say that because I didn't really get my first proper season until 2024, until last year. So I
Okay.
I literally did two weddings in 2023, but I was officially set up as a
Hmm.
celebrant then. But it didn't really feel like I really, hit my flow
Right.
until 24.
Okay. And I think everyone here has sort of heard your story about how you had the stressful time at Jaguar and then that kind of carried into a new job. But do you want to tell us just sort of the short version of how you ended up a celebrant for
Mhm.
anyone
I'm
who
really,
doesn't know already?
yeah, yes, and I'm really bad at the short version, so please
Okay.
help me if I start to waffle, because
It's all you today, friend.
such
We're
a
here to listen.
there's so much that happened, but to try and make the as short as possible. Um, Jaguar, starting from the stressful job as an engineer at Jaguar, if we start from there, um, basically I realized that I was creating that stress for myself, and it was because I was focused on the wrong things, blaming everything and everyone else for my stress. So it was kind of this big wake up call. And I started making little changes in my life, being kinder to myself in small ways. And step by step by step, I gradually started to like my job as an engineer and then love my job as an engineer. So the really amazing thing is that I literally fell in love with the same job that stressed the hell out of me because of those internal changes. And from that place, a big part of that also was realizing how much I loved people. That, engineers, we build products, but I realized that building relationships was a lot more important to me. Interacting with, connecting with humans was more important. Helping them communicate, collaborate in better ways, act more like a community. I didn't know back then I would be doing this, but yeah, it was already, seeds were planted. So I ended up transitioning from engineering into coaching, what's called Agile coaching, where you do that very thing. I helped teams of people to communicate, collaborate better, celebrate their wins, form little micro cultures within the macro culture of the company, and self-organize themselves, and all this stuff that I love doing naturally anyway. As an engineer, I was doing as a coach. So falling in love with people, interacting with people, celebration, become a big part of my job as a coach as well. Kind of, I think internally had that seed had grown even more. And COVID came along while I was this agile coach, company based in Berlin. And suddenly we had the opportunity to move because the company went fully remote.
Hmm.
And what you were saying earlier about living by the sea, well, Fran, my wife, and I, we've had the same dream for years, to live somewhere by the sea, warm climate. And this was our first chance to just go for it. So we just, in 3 weeks, we left Germany and moved to Mallorca. Like, Fran's just a wizard at moving. She got shit done. So we were in Mallorca, and just had this new life, loved it. I was a life coach, by the way, on the side. So I was this like the feel good life coach. That's how I branded myself. Had a website and everything, and it just had this really cool life as an agile coach, life coach, the Mallorca lifestyle. And then about 10 months in, my employer let me go. So they were struggling financially, economically. The war between Russia and Ukraine, there were all these crazy things happening around the world, which had these knock-on effects. So they had to let people go, including me. And I threw a hissy fit on day one. Like I was not happy on that first day when I found out, really angry, couldn't believe it. And then probably even, yeah, day two, I picked myself up and I realized that actually this is a good thing. And you know, me being a little bit woo-woo and trusting the universe and things happening for a reason. And I knew this must be happening for a bigger reason. So I made the decision to just take a break, not go back, rushing back into work. I did not want to apply for another job again. We were in Mallorca. We had a bit of severance money. So I was like, let's just enjoy life on the island. Let's be completely open-minded about what comes next. And what I did mention was that I was getting into singing at the time. So this was a new hobby of mine. Uh, my mum told me I could sing really well, and I know everyone's mums probably says that to everyone. But she actually sings really well, so I took it as a, you know, as a real compliment. So I started taking singing lessons, vocal coaching on the side. Now I had no job. I was like, okay, I'm just going to sing every day and practice, practice, keep building my voice. So I was doing that. And I was starting to have these dreams about being a singer. But then I thought, you know, maybe I'm being a little bit too ambitious because I've only really been, you know, professionally learning to train my voice and stuff for like, I don't know, it's probably 6 months at that point. But then one morning I woke up and I just had a inspired thought idea to check out wedding singing in Mallorca because I thought, you know, of course you still have to be good, but you know, it's not like landing a contract, like a deal kind of good.
Record deal.
A record deal, thank you. So I went into this like whole wedding singer thing, and I fell in love with the idea because it wasn't just singing, it was the traveling, you know, all the things that come with weddings, the joy and love. And so I shared the idea with Fran, and we got talking, and actually somehow we landed on the idea of me being a wedding MC, believe it or not, before we even went into Celebrant. Because this is going back some years now, but in my since my mid 20s, I've been best man a few times at different weddings. I've given quite a lot of speeches. I emceed a friend's wedding. So that's where this kind of natural idea came in. So then we just rolled with it, set myself up as a wedding MC in Mallorca, started contacting venues, wedding planners. And it turns out no one really knows or had heard of what a wedding MC was in Mallorca. It's not really a big thing there culturally. So then I met a wedding planner for coffee one day and shared my life story. And she said, have you ever thought about being a wedding celebrant? And that's when, like something shifted. I kind of resisted it at first because I thought it was something religious and you had to be specially qualified, and I knew nothing about it. But then once I realized actually a lot of it is about building relationships, connection, storytelling. I had actually really come to love storytelling as part of coaching, as part of what I was doing as an agile coach. So all these things just started to fit. And I thought, yeah, I'm just I'm gonna go for it. So she was really happy because she was like, yeah, I think you'd be good. You'd be a natural. And she got me my first gig. And that was in May time, 2023.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, good celebrants are hard to find. I get it. I've been psyched if I was her. Like, yes, another one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That was kind of the impression I got as well, is that there were loads of wedding planners, loads of photographers, all over the island. So it wasn't just the quality, like what you said, coming by good celebrants, but it also the quantity. But by comparison, not a huge amount of
Yeah.
celebrants.
Yeah.
So she was very happy, very encouraging, which helped.
Amazing. That's quite a story, friend.
Yeah, I told you it wouldn't be short.
No, it's okay. It's great. It's a great story. So I figured that because we've had all of these interviews and we've had, other sessions where we've talked about kind of your backstory and how you got here and whatever, that rather than going through your sort of usual list of stories, it would be, or of questions, it would be fun for all of us to interview you.
Ah.
So I'm going to start with a question and then I'm going to see who has a question that would be a good follow-up to this question. And we're going off book here, sir, unless there's something specific that you want to talk about from your
Oh,
normal list. All
no,
right,
full trust. I love it.
I'm first. How did you get so woo-woo? Has this been a like whole life thing? Is this like a recent thing? Is this like from your parents or something you came to as an adult? Where does the woo-woo come from? How long has it been with us? Tell us about the woo-woo.
I love that question, and I don't think anyone's ever asked me that. So great question to start with. The crazy thing is, I had quite a bit of resistance to woo-woo-ness and to spirituality. So my mum turned from religious to spiritual many years ago, back when I was a teenager.
Okay.
She's been passionate about spirituality for ages. And anytime she would mention spiritual topics, this wall, this kind of mental wall came up, and I couldn't hear the words. Just couldn't take it in. So that's crazy to think of the contrast from then to now. Um, but actually, it's all connected because coming back to the story about being that stressed out engineer, Jaguar, that's in a way where it really started to get going. There were like little things before that, self-help books, learning about limiting beliefs. Oh, here's a fun one for you. I first came across limiting beliefs in a book called The Game. Do you know The Game by Neil Strauss? Okay,
Mm-mm.
so this is a controversial book.
Oh yeah. Yeah, 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 I do. Where was I? I was just listening to something where they were talking about this. And then he's had the follow-up was the truth,
Oh,
right?
I don't know that one. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. No, well, tell in case anyone doesn't know that book. But yeah, I've
So
never read it, but I've heard of it.
I'll get straight to it. It's all about being a pickup artist. All right, it's about picking up women with techniques and methods. And, this was during my many, many years of being single in my 20s. So this is kind of, I need to do something. So I turned to this book. But what I didn't realize is that there was some real deep, it sounds like a really shallow thing, and in ways it was. But there's some really deep things in there about limiting beliefs. And that's kind of in a way where the first seeds, I think, were planted about the power of the mind and belief. So, anyway, fast forwarding to my stressed out engineer days, um, I was reading some books at that time, Conversations with God. I had already, yeah, you're nodding, so yeah, love, love, love that series of books. Really spoke to me at that time. I had already read The Power of Now like some years back before that point. So I already had this kind of background of dipping into spiritual texts and stuff. But I think what really tipped me into being proper woo woo, point of no return woo woo, was oracle cards. So again, that's something I had resistance with believing in, that you can pull a card from a deck. You know, it's kind of in the same category of horoscopes, reading horoscopes in newspapers, you know, that kind of cynicism and really, um, but you have to experience it to believe it. So I started pulling oracle cards, asking questions to the oracle about my future, about my current work situation, and the accuracy was just undeniable. So yeah, it converted me. And just slowly but surely, you know, I started opening up more and more to the supernatural and to the woo-woo world. And yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
And what, like, give us like a time, was that like before Jaguar, after Jaguar, like where in the chronology does that fall? The
That
like
was,
full flip into woo woo.
yeah, it was during Jaguar. It was in the thick of it. Um, I was, yeah, pulling oracle cards at the weekend or before going to work. I was setting intentions about how I wanted to feel that day. I was walking down the corridor picturing grumpy people laughing and smiling, to then witness them laughing and smiling. You know,
Mm.
the power of law of attraction and being intentional and living life deliberately. I was experiencing it in living a normal life as
Yeah.
an engineer. Synchronicities. You know, I would be staring at my computer screen and I would see the very word that someone just said in that second. You know, so all these amazing so-called woo-woo things, yeah, happened back then.
Yeah. That's really interesting. Like I mean, not the exact same path, but my mom was very spiritual and would almost kind of weaponize it against me in a little way. Like it was like she would use it to manipulate me. So I was like, oh God, I don't want anything to do with tarot cards or the I Ching or all these fucking books she talks about. Like, no. And then like, yeah, in my 20s, I hit a really rough patch. And then like little by little, like to claw my way out of that, yeah. So anyway, who has a question for Prit? That's a good next question. Doesn't have to be a follow-up, but who's got a question for Prit?
I can you.
Nathan.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
You
all
wanna
right.
go,
I saw
Nathan?
Nathan's hand
No,
first.
go Danielle. Danielle,
No,
go
you
first.
can go. It's
No,
okay.
please, please.
Well, I have two questions, so you can choose one. And first, what is to be an MC? Because I have no clue what is to be a wedding MC. I have zero. I have, maybe I can like guess, but not sure. So I'd like you to explain. And second, I love when you talk about your wife. So if you wanna share about, how you met her, it's kind of things. I love stories too. So enjoy. Choose one.
Great questions. I'll make the MC one quite quick and then maybe answer the question about Fran. A wedding MC stands for Master of Ceremony. So that's the traditional title. And it's basically, I'm the person with the microphone making announcements about what's happening during the wedding, usually wedding reception. So that the typical point that a wedding MC begins is the beginning of the wedding reception. Um, if you imagine all the way from making this grand announcement, getting everyone's energy up, you know, whooping, cheering the couple coming into the dinner, announcing the speeches, cutting the cake, and all these things that happen, but there's someone there like me to announce them and to keep that energy high. Yeah.
It's really nice. I thought at least in Brazil we have this, but usually it's the wedding planner that handles, or with someone if there's a band in place, also they help. So it's nice that there's a specific person, so the wedding planner usually can handle other things. It's
Yes.
nice.
Yeah. Sometimes I get big sighs of relief from wedding planners because they don't have to do that part, or they can stay focused. You know, they don't have to pick up my microphone or interact with people. There's, you know, lots of introverts in the industry,
Mm.
including DJs who would rather not do that. Anyway, so that's the MC thing.
Thank you.
And what did you want to know about?
How you met her?
Okay. Oh man. I'm gonna have to try and keep this one short as well. But yeah, this does actually kind of tie into the woo-woo-ness as well. Because I was at a point in my life and career where I was ready for change. This was back in 2012, early 2012. I was single, obviously. I for years was single, and I was, struggling, probably even trying to pick up girls with the game at that point. Match.com. I was on Match.com, dating a girl for a few months. Didn't work out. We just weren't a match. So that wasn't so great. Work was slow. My dad's business went under, and like a really tough time for the family with his business going under. And so it was really, really hard. So I was ready to just get away from the UK, go somewhere else, and start life new. So I saw a job that came up, an engineering job in Germany, in more or less Berlin, which is where I moved. Went there early 2012, and 2 weeks after I moved there, I was looking for a new apartment because I was put into some temporary apartment by my company. And I knocked on Fran's door because she had an apartment free. So I had this agent who would help me find apartments, and he found her apartment. And usually I stay for 10 minutes. It's a quick in and out tour, look around, quick chat, and go. I ended up staying for 1 hour, forgetting there was an agent in the car outside waiting for me in the cold because I was so enamored. And we just got into a conversation, finding out about each other, having a laugh, getting to know each other. I ended up having dinner with her there and then because I came home from work. I was hungry. I wasn't a vegan at that time, so I could smell her doner kebab, and it smelled really good. So we had a really romantic, greasy doner kebab together, whilst getting to know each other. And then, yeah, I realized I liked her too much to move into that apartment. So I was close, but I pulled out in the end. But we stayed in touch, and I ended up asking her out. This is me cutting a long story short because quite a few other things happened, but basically that's what happened. And the crazy thing, though, this is where the woo-woo comes in. Fran she was already woo-woo, right? She was already reading those books, and she was way ahead of me. She had put out into the universe that she wanted to meet her dream man, her dream boyfriend. And she wrote a list of qualities that she wanted this guy to have. And she said, I want him to arrive on New Year's Eve. That was a very specific request to the universe. I didn't come to her door until February 29th. However, a good friend of mine from university, also Brazilian, by the way, he was over visiting his German side of the family for New Year's, and he invited me to come over to party with him. So I actually came to Berlin for the first time ever on New Year's Eve. So she, in a way, her wish was answered. I was there, but we just didn't cross paths that day because, the timing mustn't have lined up or whatever. So yeah, for me, that was pretty mind-blowing that we were in the same city. At that point, when I was in Berlin, I didn't even know that I was going to get this job and that I would be coming back to Berlin to live there. So it's just incredible to see that sequence of events. Mic drop.
Yeah, I love that. Seriously, thank you. It's
Great
so
question.
cutie.
We actually, Fran and I have a YouTube channel, and we've got a show called Downstream FM where we invite people to share their manifestation stories. And we share the sort of longer and more nuanced version of that same story. So if you're interested, yeah, I can share it. Yeah.
I have a story for you.
Ah, yes.
But you can interview me in your channel because I literally asked for my husband. But this is about you. I can tell you about later. But I do have questions for you. Nathan was gonna ask first, so I will let him go first, and then I will.
I have a story for you too, Prit.
Yes.
I
Well, me
wrote a list.
too.
I wrote a list on Ollie's birthday before I met him.
Mm, love that.
Nathan, you had a question.
Everyone has a story for Prit. Love it. Yeah, I have a question, Prit, more geared towards the couples, like emceeing. So what do you do? How do you approach a couple to make the emceeing that you do for their day unique to them? Like what kind of things do you get to know the couple? Is it like talking to them? Is it a questionnaire? Like and then how do you put all that together to make it unique for them on the day? Because the weddings that I've been to that are most memorable for me, just as an observer, are the ones where it feels very genuine and you can tell that the MC has gotten to know the couple and they put a lot of effort into it and they put a lot of thought into it. And it's not canned, it's not forced. It seems very genuine. It seems like they're their friend, you know?
Yeah.
So, I'm sure that's your approach. So how do you get there and what do you do?
Yeah. Thank you. Great question. And yeah, you hit the nail on the head with it seems like their friend. That is my aim for every single wedding that I do, whether I'm the celebrant. It tends to be, I was going to say, or the MC, but it actually tends to be most people are booking me now for celebrant and MC, so the combined role, which kind of goes into answering your question because part and parcel of my process or the journey process sounds a bit sterile. It's like an emotional journey I go on with the couple, is really getting to know them, really connecting with them, and really getting to know them personally. So, yes to the questionnaires. I have questionnaires for all of it, for the ceremony, for the reception as well, asking lots of personal questions. I do what's called a wedding vision chat with them, where I get them to envision how they want everything to feel. I want the ceremony to feel, the reception, their guests also, and from that we derive what matters most to them for the ceremony and the reception, and we can focus on things from there. And to give you some specific examples on the night for the emceeing, it also depends on. I have like a tiered thing, so they can choose how personal they want me to go as their MC. So if I start with sort of the most personal I can go, right from the introduction to dinner, I'm warming up their guests. I'm thanking them from coming for all the way from Australia, from Norway, maybe calling out some names and make even the introduction, me warming up the crowd is personal. It's like I know these things already as a family member. And then with the introduction, I'm saying very personal things about how they met, on Bumble back in 2019. The proposal was, where was it? In Spain. I've forgotten the place now. In Spain. And then, today they got married and blah, blah, blah. So giving them it's not just a generic hyped up introduction, but very personal. And also when it comes to the speeches, giving each of the speech givers, the speakers, personal introductions as well. Even if it's just something small and lighthearted, but it's not just, and now the father of the bride, you say something personal about him. Yeah.
Cool. Love it. Love it. I think the vision, what did you call it? A vision?
Vision chat. Yeah.
I like that. I think that's good. I think that's good. Really helps put out there, like, yeah, what they can expect. I like that.
Thank you. And I that was inspired by my coaching days because I discovered the power of being intentional and putting this stuff out there beforehand, but also in continually coming back to that as your North Star. So you set this stuff from the very beginning. This is how you want it to feel along our journey, which can take over a year and a half sometimes now, because people are booking me earlier and earlier. So they don't lose sight of what they wanted from the very beginning, or at least make conscious decisions about deviating if they do. Yeah.
Cool. Right on.
Thanks.
Um, I was just gonna say really quickly, Prit, like one of my dreams for Connect Wed is to have like, because that's not dissimilar to like an exercise I have my couples go through to figure out like, what their priorities are and what's most important to them. And that every time they have to make a decision about budget or they have to choose a supplier or whatever, or like a decor decision, they come back to this like kind of North Star of what they really want for their vision. And like, if that thing doesn't align, then we get rid of it. You know what I mean? So it would be great to kind of align, like if we just had like we aligned that process, right? So you didn't have to do like a separate questionnaire, like it was all one,
Yeah.
and like all of our suppliers could use this system that, it
Yeah.
makes it easier for the couple because they don't have to do similar things multiple times. It makes it easier for all of us. So yeah, I love that. If you want to, when you when you get settled at your new job and you have some more headspace to put back into your celebranting, if you want to like coordinate on that, like we definitely can do that.
Yeah, it's a great idea, and I absolutely agree. In the space of ConnectWed, for example, I don't know if all couples would be up for this, but imagine one of us interviewing the couples in ConnectWed, asking them these questions live on camera, if they were willing to do that and share.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All the suppliers in this network watching this one video, and it goes out to all of us. I think that would be super powerful.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. For sure. Who else has a question for Prit? Sharon.
Okay, so I have a question. Um, well, first, Prit, you are one of the most amazing people I've met in my life, and you're one of those kind of people that I can listen to all day long. And a couple of fun things. My husband is also an engineer and did work for Jaguar,
Hey.
right? Another thing is I'll have to share the story of how my husband and I met, and it was on Match.com. And it wasn't because I wanted to be on Match.com. I hated men at the time. I
Okay.
need to share that story with you one day.
Yes.
And thirdly, I am so excited about your new job. Um, I feel a lot of excitement and enthusiasm from you. And that's how it should be. It's like one of those things where it's right in line with what you're thinking. And so I'm a big, huge believer in law of attraction. Huge. And I was just wondering if you were to give Connect Wed, or not even just Connect Wed, but the wedding industry in general, with all the poopy, crappy shit that's going on, what would be that one piece of advice, or maybe two, that you would give to help attract the change that we want to make?
Hmm.
That's a deep question, right?
It's a big question.
Yeah.
Whether I could narrow it down to one bit of advice. But I think what I always say about law of attraction in general, and this applies to any industry, including wedding industry, is don't believe me. If I or anyone tells you about law of attraction, don't just believe me. That's the key. See for yourself. I think that is by far the most powerful thing anyone can do with any teaching, but particularly law of attraction, because that's a bit, it can go into the woo-woo space, but it doesn't have to be woo-woo. It's embedded into every single moment of everyday life. So see for yourself. When you're grumpy, when you're negative, when you're focused on everything that's going wrong, what shows up in your life? Okay, put it into in the context of the wedding industry.
Frozen. More grumpiness. That's what shows up. More shikaka. That's what I say around my grandbabies.
Seems to be only Prit that's frozen, right? Yeah, everybody else is. Yes, more grumpiness. I agree. But this is like Sharon, Prit and I, until he comes back. Prit and I have had this discussion like so many times and on so many levels because everyone in the network is at a different level, right? So if we tell somebody who's like really mired in like the grumpiness and the whatever, just be positive, like then that like if they're not there and they're not ready for it, then that verges into like the toxic positivity. You know what I mean? So it's hard to kind of, we have to meet everyone where they are. So some people need a space where they can talk about all the ick of the wedding industry because they can't talk about that anywhere else. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm learning so much about the ick. I'm so naive about the ick. I don't know if I just block it out or what. I don't know, but I'm learning so much about it in Connect Wedge. It's like, oh my God, people do that.
Yeah. I think I'm just answering Prit has messaged me that his Wi-Fi crapped out and he's reconnecting. I think stationers can be isolated from some of it because you're not on site on the wedding day. Um, and I do at some point, I want to talk to stationers about how we can make you guys feel more included because I know you feel a little bit left out because you're not there on the wedding day. Um, but yeah, and I think, you're also a really positive person and you just kind of exist in your positive bubble and you don't need to mess with the negativity. Do you know what I mean? But there are, members that we have that are utterly wonderful human beings, but they're at where they are in their career, they're pretty mired in the like, you know, the kind of misery of it or the like, because it's this industry of happy and this industry of like, we can't talk about anything unpleasant because it's about a couple's wedding day. So there are a lot of people who need to be able to like, because I believe for me, when and Prit said himself, like, he was miserable for a day, he threw a fit, and then he got up the next day, and you know what I mean? So I personally believe we have to like feel the shit and go through the feelings and the negativity and then move beyond it. So I think we have to address those things and then, you know what I mean? We're talking about woo woo and the wedding industry and the conversation you and I have had a million times about like meeting people where they are. We can't just tell somebody who's mired in it and doesn't really get the law of attraction thing to just be positive, that kind of shit. Anyway, back to Sharon. Do you need to ask your question again to remind Brett since he's back with us now?
No, I don't need to ask it again. I think it was just more like, how do we, and I totally get what you're saying, Ajna. I and I've learned a lot actually in Connect Wed because, like you said, stationary, we're in like our own little studio world and making pretty things and la 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 la. Although a lot of crap does happen in my studio, I'm going to tell you. But I try to take that crap and make something pretty out of it. But anyway, I get what you're saying, that everybody is not in the same place and you can't just say, oh, just be positive, my question really is, how do we get going? How do we get others going in that direction? I know that people need to vent. I certainly do, and it makes me feel better after that. But I try not to give too much energy to that. I don't know how to explain. I try not to stay in that. So I'm just wondering, because I've had lots of conversations with you and Prit, and it just every time it's like, oh, I feel like, oh, yeah, that's good. I'm going to do that, and blah 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 blah. But I'm wondering how we can, you know what I mean? Just take those baby steps to get there. I don't know.
That's exactly it. It's the baby steps. It's combining what you just said and what Ajna said about starting from where you are and taking the baby steps from there. You know, and that's the most spiritual thing you can do. Like people think that being spiritual is being up there and being unfazed by life and anything, and you're above everything. But if you try to go there from where you're not there, and from where you are, actually it's counterproductive. You'll go in the opposite direction. You're not doing yourself a favor. You'll just get more frustrated, and you'll probably say, this law of attraction thing doesn't work. It's rubbish. Right? So it's really key. Actually, there's things like self-awareness is really, really key. Because what shifted for me was finally becoming aware of what I was doing to myself and how I was attracting things to myself. But until you see it for yourself, that's coming back to the first thing I said, until you experience it for yourself, it's just going to be words that someone tells you or that you read in a book. So it's really tiny baby steps. What happens if I'm a bit kinder to myself today and I'm not super hard on myself? What happens if I don't get stressed out checking my messages on the commute to work and I read a nice book instead? How does that shift my emotions? And then, it's really about seeing for yourself, how did my day change? How did my experiences change? And that's really what it was like for me in the beginning. These tiny little experiments, if you want to call them experiments. How do you feel? What shows up? How do you feel? What shows up? And that's the only way you're going to see for yourself how it works.
Yeah, I get that. I'm there. I love it. Because I used to be in a really dark, ugly place. But yeah, and I'm happy to share that with anybody. Not my story, not the dark, ugly place.
Thank you, Sharon.
I think you hit on the really like the key too, Sharon, is that like you gotta vent, you gotta let it out, you gotta honor the shitty feeling, but then don't stay there. You know what I mean? Because that's where I struggle a little bit sometimes with people who are super woo-woo, is that like they have done that work and gotten to that place, and so they can just say like, you know what? I'm not gonna think about that. I'm only gonna be on the positive thing, you know what I mean? But not everybody has done all that. So if you say to those people, just be positive, it's toxic as fuck. Do you know what I mean? So I think you said the key yourself, which is a thing that happens in these discussions that I love, when somebody asks a question and actually they've had the answer all the time. So I think you had the answer all the time, and that is to let it out, let it go, honor the shitty feeling, and move past it as quickly as you can. But like to actually honor that it's there, not just shove it down. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So who else has a question for Prit? Anyone else? Paulita?
I have a question. And can I do like a little thought that I have from what Sharon is saying, which is something that I think this community is so valuable for, and it's understanding that balance it's part of life and of the world. You cannot have positive if you don't have negative. So embracing the negative, it's important as well. Why we always think that having a negative feeling, a negative thought, a rant, why is that bad? Why we have to always be controlled, always be polite, always be don't scream, don't yell, like that looks bad. And why? If that's part of our human experience. So embracing the bad as a part of you and learning to love, okay, I'm not perfect. I have these things, recognizing them, embracing them with love and care. I love that part of me. Even if I don't like it as much, I'm going to try to not let it control me, but it's a part of me because I'm human. What else are we going to do? So I think this community is gorgeous because of that. Everybody comes here with these amazing experiences. Prit has all these cool, imagine how many people can say, like, I'm an engineer and do all these cool things, and I was burned. And all of your experiences brought you to where you are today. And because Ajna asked to ask you questions, I went into your website just like you do with ours. And the first thing that that you said there is, I have the coolest job in the world. So when you were telling your story, I don't know, like I am like a very visual person. I was listening to you and I imagine like a big wall where your life was putting you little steps and you were going to them without even knowing where you were going to end up. And then you say like, have the coolest job in the world. And then, lo and behold, life make a switch again and then you're back to engineering, right? So it's always like, so it's nice that you share that type of negative things that happen in order to build. It's balance. So that was my thought that I was having while you guys were talking. And then my questions, I had several questions for you, but the first one that caught my attention is, you were living in Spain, right? Majorca is in Spain.
Yep.
Do you speak Spanish?
Un poco.
You're blowing my mind, Prit. No way. What other languages do you speak?
I speak French, not fluently, but like I'm on Duolingo again. But I learned it at school up to what we call GCSE, if anyone knows the English, the British system of education. It's until I was 16 years old, I learned French. So I'm pretty good with French. Spanish, I can get by. I mean, we lived there for 3.5 years, so I can get by at restaurants, cafes, chat to some people about dogs, because we've got dogs. So you learn the words that you need to know. Yeah, and German, obviously, I'm fluent in German.
Wow, you're full of surprises. The other thing that I wanted to ask you, because Sharon also take a little bit of the question with the advice, so I'm gonna change it a little bit. What will be the advice that you give anybody in any industry, but let's say because we're in the wedding industry, that it's feeling burned out and that it's feeling the way that you were feeling when you decided that you make a change, but like of course your life have put you in the path of like manifestation and all of these things, but like for somebody that it's maybe not there, what will be your advice when they are feeling that way?
Yes. Good question. And I can only speak from my own experience in what I was able to connect to in that place. And that was, be kind to yourself. Like, it seems like such a simple thing, but for those of us that are continually beating ourselves up, sometimes without even realizing it, we often without realizing it, that's how you get to that stage, in the littlest of ways, but the consistency of it. Being kind to yourself can be huge. And even the smallest acts of kindness, it doesn't have to be some grand gesture. those examples I gave, they were real. They were about me. My little ones were reading an inspiring book on my commute to work instead of checking my emails and getting stressed by my emails. It was saying hi to my colleagues in the office, asking them how their evening was, instead of going straight to my desk, logging on and starting to work straight away. So these little things, and it builds from there.
That's beautiful because it sounds so simple, but it's
Yeah.
yet so deep and powerful. Like you can say like, oh, just be kind to yourself, but like listen to that again and like process it. Because sometimes it's easy to be kinder with others
Yeah,
than to ourselves. And we are so hard on ourselves.
it's true. It's profoundly true. Most human beings see the world as all the stuff that's happening around us. The world is out there, the people are out there, all the problems are being caused out there. People are not being kind to me. It tends to be, yeah, other people are the stuff, but we can't see what we're doing to ourselves. So, but once we do, and then we start to make those little changes, then the big changes follow.
And lastly, I have one question, which is kind of like a weird one, but I wanted to make it fun, which I think I want to ask like all of you that are left in the call. Um, Prit, if you had a superpower, what it will be?
Oh, what a question. Like an actual superhero superpower. Yeah,
Whatever you understand as superpower, like something like out of the possibilities of like real, like a human experience. If you have a superpower, um, what would it be?
my power would be to teleport into any dimension of any reality like that whenever I wish, and to experience life in forms that I don't even know exist.
Love that one.
Very cool.
Question.
So I've got time if other people have questions. I don't know how you guys are all on time. But I had one last official question, and then if people have other questions or want to talk about other things, then they can do that too. And my question is, Prit, of course, from the official list. You are moving into this like crazy new chapter of your life, and you're gonna have less time for us, and that's okay. But how can we support you in your new chapter? What can we do?
Thank you. Well, if it's funny being on this side because I'm going to start now saying some of the same things that everyone says. You're already doing it. Like I love this. I love the way that ConnectWed is evolving. These co-working Thursdays and all these other guest speakers that are coming in on Wednesdays and stuff we cannot even see yet that I'm sure is going to come. So keep evolving, keep changing, keep being who you are and doing what you're doing. For me personally, just stay connected. I'm not going anywhere. I'm still part of this community. I'm still a celebrant, an MC. I'm still I like to think of us as friends now. I'm still your friends. So
Absolutely.
let's keep that going. Let's have those catch ups from time to time. So I'd love to stay connected. Yeah.
Well, I feel like you're gonna need this that we say to other people that we don't do guilt in here. There's a
Yeah.
seat for you at the table whenever you have time, and when you don't, we get it. We understand. So take your time to get adjusted to your new job and your new location and your new apartment and all those things, but don't forget about us.
Absolutely not. No, it's yeah, the feeling's mutual. Don't forget about me either. Hence, let's stay connected. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. And keep Connect Wed Mondays going. That's my wish.
Yep,
Keep this going.
we
Yeah,
will. We're working on it. If
yeah.
anybody has anyone they want to interview, let me know. We're scheduled through the end of September. We're working on October now. So, yeah, let me know if anybody, because I think that could be really fun. Like, interview somebody that's a little of a hero for you, or interview somebody that does the same thing that you do and you're curious how it's different, or interview somebody that you know nothing about. Like, let's find out about this person. I like their website. You know what I mean? So, I would love to get other people on because I'm not as good at this as you are, Prit. So I don't want to try to fill your shoes. I want all of us to try until such day that they love you so much that they're like, of course you can have Monday evenings off to go back to your to go back to your interview series. Because yeah, nobody's gonna be able to do this the way you did for sure.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It means a lot.
The truth. Right, friends? Anything else for our dear Prit before we let it go?
Um, I have a question. So if you are gonna be super busy with your new job, are you gonna keep doing the podcast that you have with your wife about these things that you were telling us about manifestation and all of that?
So, at the very least, Fran will keep that going. Because we both absolutely love it, but it's more her baby than mine, and things have evolved where I'm sort of co-hosting, or have been recently, with her co-interviewing. So it'll at least be her. And humankind community is something else that has evolved, and I'm keeping going. Um, yeah, which we're just gonna find time where we can during the week or at the weekend. But that still feels very close to my heart, and yeah, building what's now turning into kind of like my own community in a way. So that's something new and exciting that in itself has been emerging in the last weeks. Yeah.
Which I like to think Connect Wed had something to do with leading you to that realization.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was on a podcast yesterday, and someone asked me that question, and I told them the story about Connect Wed, and how it was very much related. It's all connected, isn't it? But I can totally see how it's connected in a literal way, because obviously we're all about community here,
Yeah.
and it kind of just sparked something in me. Yeah.
Well, it's for sure something that was already there, just kind of the realization that that was like a thing you should be doing.
Definitely.
It's a job.
Definitely. I literally woke up one morning. So I journal in the mornings, and I woke
At
up one
4 a.m.
well, it's got a little bit later recently, so it's more like 5:30 now, but still pretty early.
Lazy. Lazy sod.
Um, but I just dipped back into my journal and found something I'd written um, way back. And it just sparked something in me about coaching again and community. And that's when you and I started having our chats, right? We started having calls about how I could get more involved in the community. And in the beginning, it was like Coach Prit, and we had these different thoughts, and it grew from there. So yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, I told you this, I've told other members this, that when we say like, we want to support you, it's not just in the business that caused you to join ConnectWed. It's you as a human being. It's your side businesses. It's, all the things. So Sharon has got to jet. She's sending you all the good wishes, Prit.
Thank you, Sharon. Much love.
All right. Oh, we should have got a screenshot before we lost
Oh,
everyone.
yeah.
Sharon,
Oh
do you have
yeah.
30 more seconds? Do your screenshot, Prit.
Okay. Ooh, need to put it onto gallery view. Okay, everyone. Yeah, fix your hair. Do what you gotta do. Okay, in 3, 2, 1. Lovely.
All right. Well, thank you, Prit. Thank you for this series. Thank you for everything you've done for the community. We will miss having you around so much, but we're happy for you, excited for you, your new chapter, all the things.
Thank you. Thank you so much for turning up. Not just today, but in all of these sessions we've been having for so long now. It's really cool to see the same faces in a good way coming every time. That it really feels like it's become a real integral part of this community.
For sure.
The fact that people, Paulita included, Nathan sometimes are joining from their cars. Emma, that says something about this and about people's level of commitment. So it's just been really awesome to see and see how the community continues to evolve and grow, as I know it already is. Yeah. So who knows what's coming next?
Well, we'll keep Mondays going. This Wednesday, we've got Sophie K talking about building following a community on socials. We've got, which I need to put the announcement up. The following Wednesday, we've got a planner panel answering questions about getting on a go-to recommended list, co-working, all the things. So thank you, friends. I'm grateful for you. Specifically, Sir Prit, thank you for everything.
Thank you,
Wait,
Pri.
wait, wait. Go,
Don't
Daniel, go, go, go.
disappear.
Oh, you both, sorry, you said at the same time. I didn't hear. Sorry.
Go,
I
Daniel,
said
you say.
I told him to not disappear. That's all. Don't be a stranger.
Oh, don't disappear. No, definitely not. Yes, likewise. Likewise. Thank you. And
I do
Pauli.
disappear, but you get used to.
No, I just said that we are rooting for you to kill it at that new job, to enjoy it. And I know you got this, but as a reminder, don't burn yourself.
Yeah, no, but like serious thank you about that reminder, because this
Yeah.
is gonna be one of the busiest I think I've ever been, with 2 jobs. I've never had 2 jobs at the same time before.
Yeah,
I
it's a
mean,
lot.
technically 3.
Yeah, 3 with the
Yeah.
celebrant, 3 with the celebrant. I've got the community thing, there's quite a lot going on. So, but going into it with full trust that this is all part of my continued journey and expansion and learning. So I'm expecting there to be some challenges with this, but they're there for a reason. Yeah. So I may
For
just need,
sure.
yeah.
And then what's something new and exciting with that challenge, right? Challenge is necessary to make us feel fulfilled with our fields and all of that. But I understand it's when you get the difference between feeling challenged and then when you feeling burned because you want to, So,
Exactly.
but
Exactly.
so excited for you, rooting for you, wishing you all the best. We're gonna
And
miss
that's
you, but you're in our hearts. And hopefully you can join us sometimes. And if you don't, I know we're gonna keep bringing you. Like, oh, if Prit was here, he may be asking like this. So.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
and that's the thing I think, Prit, about when you follow, like, Oui Mon Coeur, when you follow like the little things, you just do whatever's next. And if you get into this job and it's not what you thought it was going to be, it's the stepping stone to the thing that, you know what I mean? So you got
Absolutely.
this, bro.
Thanks, sis. Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, for making this happen today as well. Appreciate you. It's crazy how it happened, isn't it? Because we actually had someone else booked for today. They dropped out, and it was a perfect opportunity for me to come in before.
Oh.
Well, Kristen and I talked like really early on about, well, when are we going to interview Prit? But you had scheduled all the way through September. So we were like, well, just, whenever we'll fit it in. And then, so it worked out. It always works out. Everything always works out.
Always let that be the mantra. Yeah.
All right.
Hey, Pri, can you send the link for your channel?
Oh yeah. Whoa, I don't. Do you want it now, or can I put it like?
As you want.
Post it post it on the feed, Prit.
I'll post
Then
it
Yeah,
on.
nice.
find it.
Mm-hmm.
That way we can go back to it, because when you put it on the chat and then the chat goes, it's
No, you
hard
need
to
to open
find
right
it again.
after. Yeah.
I'm gonna put it on the feed. Yeah, yeah. I can't wait to have you all on as guests and share all your manifestation stories. Yeah.
That's crazy that you mention your story and all of us were like, oh, I have stories for you.
That
Because it's
that's the thing though. Like that's what I mean. Law of attraction, it's not woo-woo, it's normal, and everyone's got stories. Everyone's got something that is really special, and it's just crazy when you look at it that
yeah.
there has to be some other forces at play.
No,
Yeah.
No, look,
even the fact that we like all managed to attract to each other,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
like-minded people on this
no,
random wedding
with the
platform.
love, with love, which is something that we all want so much. And when you said that your wife's, like, she manifested you, like, it sometimes you forget. Like, I wake up next to my husband every day, but not every day I remember that I asked for him. So it's so nice that you talked about it, and you bring this memory, which is funny because it was on New Year's that I made this. So I've listened to some meditation, and I got a book that was like, ask for the universe, ask to the universe whatever you want. And this exercise where you like do like a meditation and you close your eyes, and like in the top of the earth you find your soulmate, and you don't have, of course, like a face for them or anything. It's just like this energy connection. And this was 2020 New Year's, and my little cousin that I love with all my heart, she passed away that year. And I don't know why in the meditation, I just like visualize it. Like she was like super present. So when I met Andre, we were talking and he told me that his dad passed away that year, and they passed the same day,
Oh my
my little
word.
cousin and his dad. So as a joke, I told him, I think in the line to get to heaven,
They were
like they
talking.
were next to each other, and my little cousin tell your dad like, hey, do you have somebody for my cousin? And the dad was like, in fact, I do. And daddy, so that was New Year's, and we connect in Bumble the next April, or no, February, the next, so like 2 months after. But it wasn't a New Year's. I remember being out there on balcony, just like looking at the stars, and I just feel, I don't know if that was exactly what happened, but I like to think it was like that.
Yeah.
And it's just so precious. And thank you so much for sharing your story with your wife, because when I remember this story, it makes me feel like, it makes my heart feel warm. And I'm gonna, as soon as we finish talking, I'm gonna go on home with my husband so hard again.
Oh.
Um, because honestly, it's not a story that you remember every single day, right? But when you do, it's just like this reminder, right? As be kind, as like it's so easy to get caught in the everyday that it's so easy to forget such magic things happening, you know.
Absolutely. That's why we do it. Yeah.
Thank you for today. As always, every Monday my heart is full,
Same.
and this time I'm gonna go and pass it to my husband or squeeze him.
Okay. Love that.
All right. Well, thank you, Prit, for everything. And we'll see some of you Wednesday or Thursday or whenever, next Monday, whenever the next time, whenever you can fit us in, Prit. We're here.
Okay, everyone.
Right.
Thank you. All the love.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.